It's so nice to go out and escape life and have fun with a nice big campfire. Just like me, enjoying my wonderful C8 Corvette. I really love this car and it is perfect. Hey, there's nothing that is totally perfect, not even the C8 Corvette. Wake up to reality. And definitely subscribe. Hey, all you wonderful C8 Corvette people out there. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day. In this video, I'm going to let you know more about the PDR situation where it had died on me. And the second part of this is giving you more information about all the water that I have discovered inside the C8 Corvette and where it's come from. So let's get into this video. I recently put out 2 videos about the PDR and moisture inside the cab of the car. For the PDR, the last time I used it was May 7th of this year. It wasn't until a couple of months later in July or August that I noticed that it was dead. Here we go. Let's hit PDR, and it's a blank screen. Took a trip out to Holiday Chevrolet, got it in the garage, and they hooked it up and weren't really sure why it just wasn't working. So, got down in the passenger footwell, took that plate out, got to the PDR itself, and ultimately, I made this other video about it because it had just really died. So, anyway, they did their fixes. Their fixes was basically putting in a new PDR module. And I checked it off and on all the way home for about an hour and a half or so, and it did fantastic. While I really hope the PDR is a done deal, there's still more going on down in the footwell. So after taking the PDR out, getting it back in, we discovered moisture from the floor mats and then down into the carpet. So Chad had dug and dug and dug, looked for the moisture, found a leak around the drain. Thinking that drain was the cause of the moisture in the passenger side, sealed up that drain inside the passenger compartment, put it up on the rack, and did more sealing all up underneath the car from there. I was not satisfied. I wanted to make sure that there was no more water leaking. So test number 1, I got sheets of paper, used painter's tape, put it all together, put it in the passenger side floorboard, and then I drove down to Yellow Jacket Garage, a 2-hour drive to go see Brian, and just a fun picture of having 3 generations of Corvettes in his garage. Now from there, we checked all around the windshield and the front trunk or frunk and, really experimented, didn't see anything wrong. I had discovered more water around the gas pedal on the driver's side. So Brian looked there as well as looking over in the passenger side again. Here's Brian starting his own video on this situation and determining that he felt like it was the HVAC that was not sealed up right. So I prepared for test number 2 for my drive back home.
Okay, Burke is underneath the dash upside down. We're going to try to tuck some paper towel and whatnot in there to see if we can find the source of the moisture. So he just did. I appreciate that shameless plug for Yellow Jacket Garage too, so that's appreciated.
Here I show you down on the passenger side where I put all kinds of paper towels and just all up and down there. Then on the driver's side, did the same thing, plus that white sheet of paper that's in the center of that tunnel. I am not going anywhere without taking a fire extinguisher ready to go because of the good amount of fuel material under here. that could be next to hot spots that I am unaware of. I was hoping this was not an ominous sign as I watched this wild pig cross the road in front of me. Right, just got home. Time to see how the car did. First, pull out the paper from the passenger side at the very back of it, behind the bracket, and it was dry. Then I pull out the passenger side rear paper towel at the bracket, and that was wet. I quickly show where the water was coming from around that bracket. I pulled the next paper towel on the passenger side in that mid area, and it was dry. Go up to the front passenger at the drain, and that was dry as well. I move over to the driver's side, pull the center area paper. It was wet at the back, close to the center line, and at the front, over towards the left, where the gas pedal is. Close to that white sheet of paper, I had another paper towel at the driver front, under the label, and the green dot. This was soaking wet. Lastly, I go to the driver's side, far front, and that was dry. Here's a look at the sheet of paper that was in that center portion, and you can see the front left is wet and the bottom rear center area and off to the passenger side is very wet. For any good experiment, you need to be able to replicate your results. So it's time for test number 3. I put in paper towels in the sheet of paper just as I had done before leaving Brian's Yellow Jacket garage, and I even put painter's tape designating precisely where the paper towels were, knowing that the sheet of paper was still in the same place right in the center. Now I've done the same thing on the driver's side. Blue painter's tape to show exactly where these paper towels have been placed. I wanted to show you the temperature outside and that it was in the morning, and my AC was going at 72 degrees and I had the recirc on. Got to Holiday Chevrolet, looked at my new results, and they are almost identical to the previous. Showed all this information to the tech, Chad, and he got on the computer and started doing research. Then he decided to be a circus contortionist and began looking under the dash again. While under there, he had us turn the car on, turn on the AC, and get the blowers up on the dash going, and we covered up the dash vents, forcing air to just expand inside the HVAC system, and he found air flowing out from under that dash and all around the containers of the HVAC. Along with using the borescope, he discovered, yeah, the HVAC is not very well sealed, gonna need a new one. Now, he did do his due diligence, and he looked under and over, all around the front and everything else. My putting all these paper towels and sheets of paper up and around the area that we suspected water was coming from really did help. It did help us decide, yes, indeed, the HVAC was not sealed. It needs to be replaced, and that is just the name of the game. I'm cooked. I don't know about y'all, but this has kind of worn me out with the C8 Corvette right now. I still love it to death. My favorite car in the whole world. These problems are extremely annoying, and I am really not looking forward to having my car torn apart and then put back together. That worries me greatly. So, I love Holiday Chevrolet. Joel, Chad, all those guys are fantastic. I am really putting a lot of faith into them. You know, this has basically been $100,000 for me, and I'm just really worried about this investment. So anyway, let's hope the best and try to stay positive, and I will report back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe down below. I would really appreciate that. Give any comments if you know anything. And that, you know, I'll get back to you when I can. So with that, and for me, relax. Take it easy, and hopefully I will see you again very soon. Bye.